Safety Committee meeting Thursday, January 22nd, 2026, 2 p.m. I think the time is close to that. Yes. Committee, Jimmy Hughes, Chair. Pat.
Pat Kelly, 5th Ward member.
And
Brian Butler, Youngstown Police.
Sean Carfolo, Police Department.
Sharon Cole, Chief of Police.
Derek McDowell, Mayor.
Jonathan Huff, Chief of Staff.
Joe Fritz, Law Department.
Amber White, 7th Ward Council Member.
Julius Oliver, 1st Ward City Council.
John.
Yes.
Little man.
Somebody else down there?
What do you mean? Oh, Valencia Merrill, City Clerk.
That's the chair's roll call. Second order of business is community police assignments. I think it's on the thing there, and Youngstown staff. And we have unfinished business next. We have unfinished business. We have scheduling the next meeting, and then we will adjourn. But that's the lineup for the agenda, right? So, community police assignments. If somebody wants to keep it in that order, that's fine. If not, we. Fritz.
Sir, with regard to the YPD staffing levels, the Law Department suggests we don't discuss it at this open forum. We are in the middle of 2 contract negotiations and it would actually be directly affecting those negotiations.
Okay, I get that. But here's the thing though. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I got it.
Go ahead.
So any discussion on community police would affect negotiations?
No, I'm talking about the staffing levels, not the community police.
That's
There's
part of
nothing
We're
in-
on
there's
right
nothing-
now.
Yeah, we're
I thought you could switch. Oh, well, in either case, if we're going to discuss the YPD staffing levels, Law Department is suggesting it's not be done in this open forum. There's nothing in the CBA regarding the community police assignment, so you can go forward with that.
It's been, the staffing levels was changed in the community police as well.
Kind of goes hand in hand, the staffing of the community police, which they are YPD officers. So can we discuss that or no?
If you're not discussing numbers of police overall, you could probably discuss how the assignments are. That would be certainly a management decision. But as far as the full staffing levels overall, it's probably something that.
So is this a time thing, Fritz, is what you're saying because of negotiations?
We're in the middle of negotiations, almost have a tentative agreement with one, and the second one will be following up shortly thereafter. They put in a notice, we put in an extension for our notice to negotiate.
How does this affect YPD staffing when you're negotiating a contract?
If there's gonna be statements from the city indicating there should be X number, either plus or minus, or how that specific staffing going, that affects how many people we have when we're doing the negotiations. If the city wants to add or reduce, it becomes part of the negotiations.
Go ahead, Jim.
I think the committee, I'm not on the committee, the committee can discuss whatever they want. It's their committee.
Agreed.
You're limited to answering certain questions through the negotiations.
The Law Department's suggestion
Right,
is that,
I got that.
again, as a committee,
So when it comes to community police assignments, are we here to discuss what you've already laid out to us in the letter? As far as I mean, it ain't gonna be like y'all just can't talk about nothing that got to do with community police or police because you're in negotiations. That'd be a first ever. So what are we gonna discuss today when it comes to community police? Nothing?
Am I supposed to say through the chair or?
Yes, you are.
Okay, this is my first meeting.
And I'm supposed to acknowledge you, Chief
Okay,
Cole.
you tell me why, if there anything you want to talk about that wasn't clarified in what you already have. So I guess, do you have questions for us in regarding to community police? Because I don't know what we're here to discuss. That's up to you guys.
I'm like I said, I'm not on the committee.
Okay,
So for me in the 1st Ward, I guess my discussion would be the same as what we discussed before, as far as a community police officer that knows my ward, being able to talk about things ahead of time rather than learning about them on the back end. We discussed those things. So I guess the discussion moving forward would be when and where can we expect to get back a community police officer in each ward that's assigned to specific wards instead of sharing them? And at what point is the community policing unit going to be just community police and not mixed in with everything else that's going on?
And my answer would be, I don't know.
Through the chair.
Oh, through the chair, I don't know. There's no time. Can't give you a definite.
Fritz,
To the chair, that's one of the issues. If you're starting to assign certain parties to certain specific cases,
we won't get into any more discussion about the issues of manpower or allocation at all. And I'm gonna side with you on this, but all I'm trying to do is clarity is that we're talking about, this is negotiation, we're in the middle of negotiation. And so maybe, in my thinking is, that's President Trump calling me, but my thing is that we hope to soon get back into this, okay? Or that, and you don't have any objection with that.
So I know it's your first safety meeting. Usually what happens is when a department head comes before a community and a committee and we ask certain questions like this, we're looking for the plan forward. You know, we're looking to discuss what's coming down the line. We know where we are right now, but what are your step 1, step 2, step 3s for the future of what's going on with community police? And I think some of those things can be discussed aside from staffing issues. What are your plans for the community police unit moving forward?
Okay, through the chair,
You really don't need to respond if you're gonna talking about adjustments, because that's what he's saying. Now, I'm just,
okay.
you don't work for.
My understanding of the meeting is if there's a problem that's going on that needs to be addressed that isn't getting addressed, we can take care of that. But as far as staffing and when they'll be back and who will be back, there was no disruption of services. I would refer back to the letter that I gave you, and that's all I can discuss about it at this time. If there's an issue that isn't getting addressed in your ward, we can discuss that.
What I'm saying is, and what I'm trying to say is that right off the bat, when you got promoted as chief of police, you issue a letter with adjustments to the community police. There was no discussion that was afforded to us, by your administration. It had to be day one that the letter was generated or somewhere close to that. And it was all cut and dry. It was in conflict with the previous administration's agreements about what we will be afforded as the community police. Now, that's what I'm saying. Now, discussions about it, yes, I'm shouting in council. All we want to do is talk to you, but yet we get a letter saying that no discussions, this is what's going to happen. That's what we
Through the
say.
chair, who wanted to talk to me? I wasn't even a chief then.
Who wrote the letter?
I wrote it after January 1st.
That's all I'm talking.
Okay, well, is there something that we can address as far as community policemen? Every board has somebody.
Listen, again, he says we don't talk about the numbers, and now
Okay.
I'm not trying to break
Well,
that.
no, I'm talking
trying to
about
agree with
problems.
you.
Is there a problem? Okay.
The problem is the numbers,
Okay.
is what we saying from where you were before, and you're, like you say, the first day almost, you changed. And that's what he's saying, we're in negotiations for, and asked us not to discuss it. And I'm trying to agree with that, Mayor.
Through the chair. I want to say, and I've shared that with maybe Councilman Oliver before, I will take the responsibility that in transition, when she was chosen and appointed, my instructions to all folks that were chosen for appointment or reappointment, she was not the chief and was not to infringe on Chief Davis's tenure. But in her specific instance, and I hope we can appreciate that, there are union contractual agreements 4 bidding processes that cannot wait and could not wait for her to literally take office. And that was the January 1 deadline. There was no getting around that, and those were not commands I would have wanted to give. It just was, if we don't make these adjustments within this window of time, we're stuck. And that's so far as how I understood it. And so I was very clear in transition to say, let's try not to step on as many toes as we can in doing this. I understand there's that bidding process. And so that's on me that it was not communicated in advance, the conversation,
I think we're all familiar with the bidding process and the timeframes for it, Mayor. I'm not trying to say otherwise at the moment. But the problem wouldn't be changing the bodies. It's changing the numbers. That don't have nothing to do with the bidding. There was numbers that could be placed there and the system is set up. They agreed on the numbers. Now, if anything, saying we got a different body and somebody bid it out or something and that, that's totally understandable. But we're not talking that. We're talking about why is the numbers reduced? And that's what it is there. And that has nothing to do with the bidding. You can pick a person out, but if you already got established for the numbers, to me, that's what it is. Now, if you're saying that you're trying to muscle the unions or this is going on and you had to show something, a demonstration, I can get that as well, but I don't know. Pat, please.
So, through the chair.
Go ahead.
Maybe the policeman on this side of the table can answer, but is community police biddable? And then second follow-up to that is we don't have a community policeman in the 5th ward. We share. We don't have a policeman in the 1st ward. He shares. Amber has a policeman in the 7th ward. I know she's going to be on it. Jimmy, you're sharing, I'm thinking, right? So we don't have, we as council people do not have a designated. I don't. Julius doesn't. Jimmy doesn't. This is why we're here at the table right now, to figure this out.
through the chair.
Sir.
I'll give a little final context, and this may not answer the question completely, but the context was that while speaking with community, speaking with other members of law enforcement, what I heard repeatedly was our officers are being mandated overtime. So one of the solutions to try and address that was to bring some folks in and add them back to the turns that would allow us to bring some morale back. I talked about this in a format that would allow us to see what efforts this was going to alleviate. I understand from Chief Cole already that she's not signed one mandated overtime slip since. And so I don't believe we're trying to be elusive in the sense of what the timeline looks like. It's just a matter of trying to get in there and see if this was actually going to bring remedy to what we wanted to address with the community. I can agree with Councilman Oliver and you all that we can go back and have a discussion on what this timeline might look like if we resume what that looked like under previous administration and previous conversations. But I don't know that we have had enough time, even in the moment that we're in, to gauge whether this is a sustainable thing. But it has had positive effects, we believe, already. But I understand your purview and perspectives that this can feel like it was done without conversation. I believe that was precipitated mostly by that bidding process of getting folks reoriented. Not that community policing is biddable, but that any shifts in personnel would cause people to have to leave and vacate this position to move to this position. And we needed to get that process in now. But we'd have had to wait contractually until the next window of bidding to happen. And that's my understanding.
Okay. I'm gonna call on Cal if you didn't have anything else. Cal?
Thank you.
To add to it, Mayor, we have posted 2 payrolls. We are working on our 3rd payroll this calendar year. When this payroll gets posted, we are going to see a dramatic change in how much overtime has been expensed through this current pay period that we're in right now, which we will process this Friday. And as a direct result of the chief's and the mayor's guidance of, we wanted to address this immediately, hitting the ground running with regards to how the overtime budget has impacted negotiations with regards to the police department budget. So part of what is occurring is to, in essence, address your concerns with overtime. And we are actually going to see the first results of that when we post this third payroll for 2026.
Second one will be when budget.
No, we just,
On that
this
line.
will be our third pay, sorry, this is just our third payroll that we will actually be able to see the impact of all these changes.
What? I can get the money.
I didn't know if you.
To me, we're talking about paying out in overtime but I don't see the link from what our concerns are and what the neighborhoods are wanting when we talking about the community police. And one of our biggest gripes from the very beginning on not this chief, not the last chief, and the chief before that, that was always the staff in the community. Oh, everybody's community police. Everybody is this. We doing this. We will give them, but now they don't show up. We're gonna get them to show up. There's a lot of discussion in that. Now, I'm not for continuing with the discussions about manpower or whatever the term is these days, allocation. That's okay with whatever it is, and I'm willing to wait. But what I would say is this, that you bring up the budget and you bring up this. You guys didn't hesitate before the end of the year. We had all this money, all these items that's coming before council for approval, and especially within the working thing here. We're talking about the cadets. We had issues dealing with them and about how many and what is going on. And so, but then then all of a sudden your solutions is to start doing this changing around. Your solution is about whatever the negotiations going with the union. And it seems to me it's the craziest thing in the world. You're saying not to discuss anything about the union. You got the union president sitting right here, and he's part of you. I can't how that can work, Just it really gets me, You want to keep secrets from the guy you have the secrets with. It makes all the sense in the world.
Through the chair, I would just add that while financially, we might be able to see some immediate reprieve from overtime and that, my motivations were not just the financial impacts and improvements. I would believe, and if I overstated, anyone in here who served in law enforcement, Pat, yourself, Jenny, would correct me if I'm wrong in that. What I gathered in these conversations was that it's dangerous for our law enforcement officers to be mandated beyond their typical shift. That was what my mentality was to try and solve it from that perspective. I wasn't calculating the dollar savings in that sense. So when we speak about the piece of morale, wanting to come to work, we have community members who see our law enforcement officers sort of sitting in parking lots, hiding behind buildings, whether they're filling out a report or mandated for that second shift and frustrated. I experienced them myself at events publicly like Jazz in the Park on a Sunday, where they were mandated and frustrated. And I looked at how dangerous that can be for a law enforcement officer. And so I don't want it to be said that the only motivations were to try and attempt to save some money in overtime, and that I'm looking at our law enforcement. I committed to having Youngstown's finest. And by doing so, look at their first overall experiences as a member of law enforcement and a safety service force for our community, and saying their quality of life is very important amongst the quality of life of our residents as well. And so I'll shut up there.
What I would say is this, and no one at this table whatever talking about the safety of law enforcement and what it is. But there's no bigger controversy about what that means. When you give a man a gun, it is unlimited ammunition and carry as many backup guns as you want to go out there, or women, you know, go out there. The safety is on the table that second we back and forth through this. Now, again, no one's trying to put anyone in safety, and no one's making anybody work exhausted to their means. And the individuals that are working pretty good in those hours, they're not the normal. But if you get the average, you got a group that's making twice their salary and overtime. They're begging to work. And no matter what you're saying, I didn't mean to say that way. It does matter. But as you try to calculate how this money is being spent, who's getting this money, and who's at risk for this exhaustion and whatnot there, that's a whole new program, a whole new chain of thought, you know. But we've been doing this for decades now. The real problem here, Mayor, and I'll tell you what the real problem is, we're looking at this as the 300-man department or some number like this, and that's supposed to be the norm. That's not the case anymore. Youngstown can't maintain this level, and the bodies that they're calling for, pretty much in these negotiations, the restrictions that they putting us on us, pretty much in these negotiations, that we can't increase, we can't do this. And I sit at this very same table many a time before with previous administration about why can't we use this? Why can't we do that? And I get negotiations, I get the union, and we still put the union right at the top table to tell us we can't talk about it. Oh my goodness. Just do this.
To Jimmy's point, I'm sorry. I feel like Amber had her hand up for like 20
Amber,
minutes.
I thought she was waving to me for Cal.
I'm gonna let you guys wrap up.
No, go ahead.
This,
No,
because I-
You got a
Is it
different
okay
subject.
if I discuss the issues of the 7th Ward?
hold up a moment.
Say this first.
Yes, that's
You
fine.
did the right thing.
Oh, hold on. Can I have tea? Just playing.
Really?
Oh, I need hot tea. Question for Kyle, Chief, Mayor. Since I've been on council, there's always been a report or a study or something that's come out that said basically our safety forces are too big for what our city can afford, or even the size of our city offset from the residents is too big. And with safety being our biggest budget, fire and police, are we now in a better state to where we can afford our safety forces at the levels that they're at or higher?
Let me say this, if I can cut. Fritz, if we ask and they're going to answer a question that you think is in conflict, how about just give me an indication and we just.
Chair, I would have done that 25 minutes ago.
Okay. You
You
get.
Chair, when he's discussing what his plans are and working the finances, it's part and parcel of what we're negotiating out and what's going on. I'm not doing this to tie your hands. We have contracts come up every 3 years or so. During that period of negotiations, we want to have the ability to not make any statements that the city is going in one direction or another, because we have to have flexibility in the negotiations.
I'm on your side on that, Fritz. I'm just trying to get some guidance as to when that question comes up and when those remarks. Now, nobody wants some bumps
Stopped
on
me
there.
25 minutes ago.
So, and that seems to be
My
one.
question can't be answered.
No, I think we're just gonna move on to Amber's question and call it another meeting. And can I ask this, because one of my complaints is you spending money and you making these moves as if we already got an agreement in your negotiations. And I think you need to go to freeze on that too, if you wanna. If we get this here, I'm just saying the stuff that we had already voted on previously. And one of the things was you looking for an answer, Rich? Is that what you're doing?
Through the chair,
I'm just trying to move on.
I'm not saying your question. The stuff, I don't know which items you've.
I'm just trying to move on, Rich.
Well, then the answer is, through the chairs, you probably should just move on.
Thank you. I'm not looking for an answer
I don't
because I
like the
know
way you're talking to you.
Well,
Ain't got nothing to do with me.
he's a cheat.
So through the chair, when y'all got these agenda items and saying that this is we was gonna be discussing today, nobody wanted to send an email back saying we probably should pick some different subjects. We can't discuss these things because of union negotiations, and maybe we could have came up with a different agenda together.
Go ahead, Fritz.
Through the chair, on behalf of the law department, we don't see the agenda till a few hours ago. I mean, we see the agenda with the public. We don't get consulted about the agenda in advance. We see the agenda and then we address it.
So you haven't talked to the administration, to the police department until right before this? You haven't talked to them about this meeting? Is that what you're saying, Fritz?
Not through the chair, not till about a half hour, 45 minutes ago.
Can I ask one question before we move on to Amber?
Yes.
The community police cars are the cars are those cars going back into regular rotation, or because those cars were bought, if I'm not mistaken, bought and purchased specifically for community police? So are those cars that are specifically are 3 or 4 of those cars going to be sitting until they're reoccupied by community police, or are those going back into the pool for patrol? And I think it's car 801, 804, 805.
Fritz?
Is we allowed to talk about that, the cars? Cars aren't
Through
union.
the chair, depending what the answer is, having said,
How's that negotiable?
Yeah, it's only one answer. It's like they just
I
say,
mean, it's either the cars are gonna be put into the fleet or the cars are gonna sit there. It's one of the two. I'm sorry, Jimmy.
through the chair, I don't understand all the workings, but my understanding is those cars may have been paid through grants and things that the city received. There weren't?
Mm-mm.
Oh, then it's probably discussed.
Pardon me?
We probably can discuss. Answer that question. You can.
Through the chair,
Yes.
those cars are going into the fleet. We'll be asking for less cars to purchase this year because we have those cars.
so, sorry, through the chair. So when it goes, I don't even know what to ask them. So when it goes back to community police and
We'll address cars at that time.
we'll have to buy more cars.
Through the chair, a vehicle can't just be parked and sit for an unknown length of time. We're going to utilize what we have. And if personnel get moved around at some point, we will address cars for them at that time.
Yeah. I think I was trying to say, yeah.
Amber? Have it in.
Nice to meet you. I'm Councilwoman Amber Light. Nice to meet you. So I'm not gonna speak for anybody else and on anybody else's officers or wards. So in regards to the 7th ward, I still have my main officer, but he's now also being shared with 6th ward. So the biggest problems that we have seen is there's a lot of different detail work that our community police officers do in regards to security detail, whether it's down here. If there's an incident going on, they're put over there. So I would say probably 90% of my quality of life issues are being handled by code enforcement officers. And that's highly reflected on the tickets that are actually written. I'd say last year, 2025, there were none written by my community police officer, all written by code enforcement. And even the year prior, only 2, and the rest handled by code enforcement. With now this shift going, are there going to be actually be in the wards? Are they still going to be, now we have 4, correct? 4, we have 5 community police officers. They're going to be sharing that workload with the security and other details. Like, what are they mandated to actually do? And to just be in the ward? Or what should I expect of my community police officer at this point?
Before you respond, this is for Lieutenant Butler. do the rank and file, do we write code enforcement tickets, please?
Through the chair, I'm sorry.
Quality of life
Oh,
tickets.
yeah, through the chair, any Youngstown police officer, any sworn officer could write any of those arrestable tickets that are, in the Ohio Revised Code, codified ordinances. There may be specific, like quality of life issues that we're not familiar with that Mike Durkin's guys and girls handle, but not that I'm aware of. I would say the vast majority, yes.
They use the different misdemeanor penalty schedule in those things where they say a first degree misdemeanor and they have it 30 days or something in that like. They never was uniform into state normal punishment.
Through the chair, as we all former law enforcement at the table and current probably remember, I remember studying these promotional exams, the refrigerator, cubic feet, and learning that wow, we can enforce these. So those are the type of things that reason I say that I know we sworn YPD can enforce. My understanding is the majority of those.
Thank you.
So I'm particularly speaking of the quality of life. Like we actually have a physical handbook and there's 20 specific tickets that our officers are meant to handle. Majority, like I said, huge majority is already being handled by the code enforcement officers because a lot of times he's doing other duties. I get a message once a week, obviously, is there anything that needs to be handled? But see, I don't compile my issues until that time. When I receive the complaint, from somebody, obviously, did you follow up? Did you call? Did you, contact this department, so on and so forth? And once I learned, yes, they have, now I need to follow up through with it. When I hand that over to whether, to the community police officer, a lot of times I automatically know at this point just to kind of CC code enforcement because that's who's going to end up going. So is with him also now handling 6th Ward. I'm assuming the 1 ticket written in the last couple of years, 2, don't quote me on it, but the numbers are there. I've seen them, is going to drop even more. And, I don't expect them to write tickets all day long, educate the public, but you need to enforce also. So he's already going to be now in 6th Ward. Are they going to be mandated to be more just ward duty? Or are they still going to be doing the other security detail? There's construction going on, he's handling that. He's sitting there taking care of that also. Also doing other police duties. So what am I expected to see from them at this point?
Brian, you want to address that?
Yeah, through the chair, just a little information I'm not sure if council members are aware of, but our Attorney Fritz is well aware of this. We worked for past several years to try to rectify this, but our code enforcement officers unfortunately have had their leads access prohibited by the state. They can't write a ticket and they can't tow a car without a community police officer being right next to them. They're not allowed to see it, touch it, taste it, or smell it according to leads. So any of those tickets code enforcement has written, there would have had to be a Youngstown police officer. I would assume
Like litter.
Okay.
Do you know the list of quality of life issues?
through the
There's
chair, I
litter,
haven't seen a book.
accumulation of rubbish. You can pull it up on the ordinances right now. There's 20 different ones. Now, some is, parking on a devil strip, things like that would, but these are the basic of the quality of life that I'm referring to. And it's all documented, which ones have been, which ones not.
Excuse
And I'm
me,
just saying
Amber.
quality, I'm sorry. go ahead.
What is exactly your question that you want? I'm trying to
I
follow
did this
you.
presentation already in my ward, so
Through the
he's
chair,
handling 6 now also.
Chief,
with the adjustments that have been made, I think your question is, will you see more out of your community police officer, being that they won't be pulled away for other details?
Are they still gonna be pulled for other details?
That should be limited. And that's why I said if there's something that needs to be addressed and isn't, let Sergeant Patton know. But you should see a decrease in that officer being pulled away I'm not denying that it wasn't done in the past, but you should see a decrease in that. That shouldn't be happening as much.
I chuckled only because you said it shouldn't be, and you said as much. I'm concerned about what those definitions are.
Not as much. It shouldn't be happening as much.
Do this.
Thank you, through the chair. Can be for the chief or the mayor. I think aside from community police, regular police, what have you, I think one of the issues you'll hear from the residents a lot is they don't feel as though, and all of us have probably seen it or experienced it, the community feels as though a lot of the crime or small crimes that are happening in the city are happening because those small crimes aren't being addressed by the police department. So since those small crimes, things like speeding, running stop signs, traffic stuff, loitering, whatever it may be, aren't being addressed, it emboldens people to do more. And one of the things you'll hear from residents constantly is, well, the police was sitting right across the street, just sitting there while this was happening. You know what I mean? But he never got a car. He never came. Dude sped through a stop sign right there. Dude ain't give him a speeding ticket. He ain't pull him over. So all of these little things. And here's what I get from the police department from 2016 and now. It always be these sighs, yeah. And it's like, man, we live in these neighborhoods. Like we see this stuff happening every day. Not just from our constituents, from us, ourselves. It ain't a day to go by somebody ain't flying up my street. I had to put a gate in my driveway so my son don't ride his bike down the driveway. You know, so it's like you would get from the police officers this, but you'll never get the translation that you hearing what the people that represent the people in our wards are actually saying and are going to take this back to the police department and make something happen. You know what I mean? If more traffic stops were made just for traffic's sake, speeding, running stop signs, just random stuff, then less things will be happening and people would feel more safe. So with the absence of our community police, where our residents felt like they had an actual line that's like, I can get something done in my neighborhood through my officer that I know. I know Officer Gonzalez can take care of this because he knows me, he knows my neighborhood, he knows what's going on. But he couldn't at this time because he was over here on a raid or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that lessens the trust between the community. And I know I'm preaching to the choir when it comes to y'all because y'all heard all this stuff. The mayor may not have heard any of these things.
So you're preaching to mayor?
I'm preaching to the whole choir and the pastor. So when you get a community that doesn't trust the police because they feel like they're not policing their neighborhood because they feel like they don't care, that's a problem. Then when you get somebody that you feel like you can trust, take care of an issue on the low quietly, and they ain't got to tell everybody, then you see the same person kicking in the door next door to the drug house, and then he looking at him like, the community police officer was just at your house yesterday. Now they raiding my house. That's a problem. So I get what Amber is saying. It's like, and at the same time, your residents want to know that they got that one person they can call on.
But they can't.
But they can. And at the same time, they want to feel like if I do call on them, I don't want to have to worry about my neighbor thinking I'm the one that called on them. But you can't do that because the same police officer is raiding the house or doing some type of assignment that's supposed to be dealing with just our community and our community issues, quality of life issues. So it throws a wrench in the whole thing. The last thing I'll say is how, other than us telling each one of our wards, no, you no longer have Officer Gonzalez, and hearing, oh, well, what are we gonna do? Well, we got another community police officer. Well, who is it? How do I know? How have you guys communicated with our wards to let them know about the change and about what's gonna happen, what's currently happening? Do you guys expect us to just be the ones?
The mayor wants to respond.
Through the chair, I just wanted to say that I think we all experience it, right? You know, I live off of Glenwood, at Middle Lane. I don't know how many times I've had to experience the Pac-Man chases, it appears to be, where Dodge Chargers and Hellcats are. I would say, if I'm hearing correctly, what we've attempted in this approach is a strategy that says, if we can enroll more people in the process of doing the work, I wholeheartedly understand and see what you all are saying, because you had much more direct access to a law enforcement officer that could bring a lot more direct response to some of the things we immediately see. This approach with trying to reorient some of the staffing was to try and bring a more broader approach to the morale that I believe was impacting the challenges that we all see. Is that if someone's working their first shift and been mandated to work their second, we are not, I guess, mincing words, that humans are not going to give you the same quality of work for a longer period of time. That's just, it's not humanly possible to say I can give you a quality amount of 8 hours and then I'm going to give you another 8 more in the same amount of quality. And so this was an attempt to try and solve a larger, broader staffing issue, that if morale is better, if mandates are non-existent or the least amount possible, then our staff, we can begin to remove any kinds of challenges from within to say, now we're saying to you all, you're fresher while you're out there on the roads. You're not being forced with your quality of life to give up things in order to do this job. Now we can expect much more broader results than just the individual results. And so I can see that challenge of trade-off is to say we took a more localized approach with community policing, and we're swapping that for a more broader approach of the entire force, trying to bring them to a place where, and let's be honest, where there's no excuses. If you're out there for a fresh 8 hours and you're getting these calls, you're not being mandated, and we have the staffing that we need to be able to address these issues, then the rest is the accountability piece that we have to talk about. And so that's what I think we've done here in a sense.
I got two things. I got one, and then Sergeant or Chief Kelly.
That's good.
Pat. Mayor, there's a whole bigger picture about the community police and exhaustion and quality of life and who wants to do something. There's a lot of police officers dying to get this mandate. There's a whole lot of police officers like to work over. We've had grievance in the past, but I'm going to move on past that. You're thinking the solution that you're saying is handy just by not doing it. It's not the case. They're going to be working someplace if they're not those that wants to work, and they're going to be doing something, and they're going to be squeezing something in. You know, that's going to be the life of a police officer in the sense of it. And I'm not arguing, and I'm not trying to say every police officer is a cookie cutter, because it's not. But what I am saying is that originally when the community police was established, from the DOJ, from the grants that was run, they were prohibited from doing this multitasking. They couldn't cross the line and do regular police stuff. They had to be separate from that. You know, we couldn't use what they're doing now. So what we was doing at that point, we taken the grant money with the guidelines that they couldn't. So they loosened up the guys. You can do this, you can do that, because the nation is what the nation is. So, but my thing of it is that we maybe, and I'm not making no accusation to anyone, that we want to get the money on one hand, telling we're going to do community police work, and then on the other hand, they're not doing community police work, they're doing other work. Now, we're pretty much, if I'm understanding what the last time I had a fiscal about the money and how that's going, that don't exist absolute as we speak. But if it gets absolute, that's okay. But I'm not saying it's what's going on now. But what I'm saying, I'm just giving you the bigger picture that these things are fluid. They're going to change and they're going to change again. But the service that we expected was from that original example I gave you, that we were going to have the community police do just what we was looking for 24/7 from what Amber was saying, what Judas is saying, and what PK is saying. And that's what I'm saying on that. If you look at the original lineup and what we all know it was and to be, and so now they doing everything. Now they working overtime. I ask my community police officer every time on a Monday when she sends me this text message, any concerns, anything else. My response is, how many hours of community police are you doing? She'll say 13, or she'll say something like this. They got a schedule doing this.
So this is retired policemen, current policemen. So Brian, zoning cannot write tickets anymore. Without a policeman being with him.
Through the chair, 2 or 3 years ago, Leeds denied their access, so they cannot write that. In order to tow a car, for instance, you have to run the plate.
Right.
They're not allowed to run that plate. They have to call a community police officer or maybe someone from a beat. That's been like that for several years. We've tried with Attorney Fritz to get that changed, and it went nowhere. Leeds is not budging. Then I tried to get them Oleg access, thinking Oleg, they at least get them going. Oleg refuses. So right now we've tried everything with Mike Durkin to try to get them going, but it's almost like a state legislator thing with the Leeds administrator.
You kind of go see where I'm going with this, but I'm going to go for this one. So Chief, this is a question for you. If my shared community police officer is on the 4th Ward dealing with something, and everybody at this end of the table knows we field tons of calls. So I'm filling the call from a guy on the south side in my ward. It just nonstop. The community police is coming. Well, I don't have a community police to send. So if I call the Youngstown Police Department, you guarantee that they're going to have a car out there, or are we going to have to just sit and wait? And I'm just going to keep filling call after call after call from this person. That's, I think, is our big issue.
Through the chair,
Yes. Chief.
I would answer that. It depends on what the call is for. I mean, if it's something of urgency, I would hope that person would call 911 and wouldn't go through you to make a call to the
We would
community
hope so too, but
police.
they do.
So if it's urgent, call 911. If it's my neighbor has tires in the yard, that's community police. And that's something that you could probably email. From what I understand is the process now. You can email your community police officers, and they'll address that situation. But, to further what you and me and Councilwoman were talking about, being that those staffing changes have occurred, you should see a drop in your community police officers. They shouldn't be getting pulled away to answer turn calls, or not saying it won't happen, because some things happen. A lot of the times they all work together. You may see all of them in your ward, or all of them in your ward, or all of them in your ward. But you should see them being pulled away a lot less now, because we've returned some patrolmen, not only from community police, but from other departments. Other people that were out doing office work, they're now back on the road. So you should see a decrease in your personal, if I can use the word, police officer, community police officer, being pulled away from your community, if that makes sense.
Makes sense, but
Okay.
we don't have a police officer in the 5th Ward. So that person's being pulled away. I don't have a designated officer. I'm sharing.
You have
4th
Brian
Ward.
Curry,
I do.
5th, I'm
No.
sorry, Kylie Simmons.
Right.
Kylie Simmons is 4th, 5th. So you have her.
Right. I understand who I have. I'm
Okay.
just saying, we fill calls all day long.
Mhm.
What we consider low is not considered a load to the people who are calling us and calling us and calling us. My thing is if I call the radio, are they gonna send a car? Are they gonna say, oh, we're tied up? And if you are, you are. I get that. But so we're just gonna wait. So I gotta call these people back and say, well, you're gonna have to wait.
Through the chair, you know how that works. Everything is priority. If you call the radio, you call the dispatcher, everything is prioritized. If it's urgency, call 911. If it's their tires in my neighbor's yard, that can wait. But the citizens can call the police for whatever reason they want to. But as far as that community police officer, if there's an issue, email them or whatever. I think that's what's in place now. You email once a week or once a day, and then they all have cell phones.
If I may comment and just ask this, are they doing non-community police work in between these calls and emails? Are they exclusive community police in the ward? Is that what you have set up? He wants to answer the question.
No, I want to add to it.
Oh, yes, please.
Similar to what Jimmy just said. What are our community police officers doing in our wards if we don't give them specific things to do? Are they following a certain protocol all throughout their whole shift? Or like Jimmy said, are they doing other police work,
Non-community police.
non-community police work while they're waiting for us to tell them specific things to do?
If I can say what's non-community police work, a policeman is a policeman.
Answering the
So,
call for, no,
Okay.
Community
it's
police
all,
actually is different.
and that's all,
not really.
it is toward the DOJ and other state agencies when they were saying restrictions to what we do. And it's a quality of life issues that they pretty much base the community police are doing.
Well, through the chair, I would hope that they're continuing to do community police work, tires, vacant houses, whatever the problems are in your ward. I would hope that when they're not addressing the problems that you gave them, that they would be continuing to do what they're supposed to be doing as far as community policing.
Well, through the chair, you would hope, or that's the mandate?
That's what they're supposed to be doing. And that's what Sergeant Patton is supposed to be making sure it's done. There's accountability here.
Maxine, is that the mandate you have given to Sergeant Patton for community police? That you have given?
That's what they're supposed to
From
be.
what you just said, you seem to not know that there is supposed to be a clear distinction between community police and regular.
No, I know. They're supposed to be
You
doing.
kind of just said they regular cops. But here's the thing. If we had a fully staffed up community police unit, right, that was literally doing community police work all day long, even if they're not doing tires, they're knocking on people's doors, just getting to know them. Hey, how you doing? I'm a community police officer. I represent Youngstown Police Department. We would have a much better rapport between City Hall and our residents. Flat out, hands down. If that was happening on a regular basis, not just tires, streetlights, potholes, all the stuff the city council was not supposed to be handling, not just that stuff, but really getting to know the community to the point where they trust them enough to be like, yeah, Jimmy just murdered a cat. You know what I mean? Not Jimmy specifically, because we know that one incident where he almost. But what I'm saying is,
They didn't catch it.
if we really had our community police unit, which I think all of us is trying to been saying for years now. You know what I mean? I've been here since 2016. For years, we have been trying to get each chief to let community police be community police. If these community police officers were able to know the citizens in our wards, really know them, really do their job as community police, we would have a much better relationship between the police department and the citizens. Flat out. But they can't be doing all this other stuff. And even though we have less bodies right now, their mandate, even if they're not doing anything, should be doing what I just said, being community police officers, knocking on doors, getting to know people, letting them know they exist, handing out their card. So but if Amber don't tell them in the 7th Ward, That community police officer should have his card in everybody's mailbox. Everybody should know I'm the community, because I shouldn't have to wait till Block Watch to introduce this cat. You know what I mean? He the community police. They should know what to call him for.
What, if I can say this, when community police was started, even in Youngstown, one of the biggest programs we had was neighborhood meet and greets. Community police officer had their cards generated, they had numbers on the back of the cards, and they went from the different neighborhoods as a group, but they went as a zone, but they had other officers. We went from neighborhood to neighborhood. We knocked on doors. We gave out our cards. We told them the service they have, and the card had their numbers on it. They were one of the first ones with cell phones back in those days.
I didn't even know that.
But they had a meet and greet. Hi, I'm your community police officer. And they went to one neighbor, they didn't knock on every door, but they went and they did that, and that's what they were supposed to do. The whole concept is for you to know and they to be first line, and they can do these things and they can have some. And we even, when we started the CIT, the officers back and forth in that program, the community police was one of the first ones to go through the program, in the whole point, so that we take the big edge of the law enforcement off of it, and we're doing a service to the community. And we helping them with the quality of life issue, as well as the personal issues that they may be going through. We can direct them to the right social agencies and whatnot there if they having adolescent problems or they having domestic problems or whatever the case would be. That was a big rollout for us when we first started having community police, Youngstown, Ohio. But I'm just saying, but we always separated. They didn't take police reports. They didn't do this. And that was a hater thing. I get that. But that was nationwide. That's how it is. And that's how it was taught to those of us that went to a community police school, but that's how it was taught to be utilized. Now, I don't know. We don't see nowhere near that. We lucky if we can, they do come to the block watches and back and forth there. Previous administration had every last one of them show up at a block watch, every last one of them, and along with all of his cabinets, and that don't happen too much here. Yeah.
Through the chair, you're picking. Right?
Yes, I am. Go ahead.
Just wanted to know if I could call him PK. If that's all.
For sure.
I would say that from the notes that I've taken, the conversations that we're having here, I don't disagree with anything that has been stated. I think Councilman Oliver is absolutely right in that the ultimate goal would be that we use the term community police officer. It just is innately who we are and what we do. You're a part of this community and you police. I think when you have conversations that the community hears when it says, not just in YPD, but YFD and safety forces for a city like Youngstown, that we're bloated from the reports that we've heard. We have too many folks hear that. And when they hear that, we hear that we have too many, and yet the community feels like we don't have enough. We're sort of trapped between those two worlds where if a report comes down from a state audit that tells us we're bloated, where do we go from there in trying to solve many of the things that we all sit in this room and agree on? I don't think we're in disagreement. I think we're just in transition, trying to find an approach that allows us to get back to that space where we can allow a law enforcement officer to get out of that car and to get to know that neighbor without hearing, there's too many of you all anyway.
Mayor, you can remember some of the first things I was saying to you. I'm just trying to communicate. I just wish that you instructed people to communicate with us. I wish that we can talk to well, you can't talk to Cal, but the rest of them, just like Jonathan, that's another story. But my whole thing is that right off the bat, Mayor, there was no communication, least wise that I know of, unless they met with Julius,
So through the chair,
he says no.
I would say in our beginning, we fumbled a little bit. For you, Councilman Oliver, to even state that the agenda could be adjusted, it's news to me. I've shared with my department heads, we don't come into your home and your meetings and try to tell you all or set your agenda. But if that is an opportunity, then our council can say to us, hey, before we go in here and try and discuss these things, might we make some suggestions? I've told them not only in these committee meetings, but council as a whole meetings, that we are guests in your home. And I wouldn't have thought or dared to think that we could have adjusted your agenda.
And just not to interrupt you, but in a correction there, your department, the law enforcement has often asked to be placed on the agenda with a topic, you know? So I think that's basically what, kind of like this, if it was necessary, you could have approached us, which they have done in the past, and we put them on the agenda with their topic.
Through the chair.
Through the chair. So, Mayor, this is really a new experience for me with Safety Committee. I don't often come to these. Jimmy does a great job as chair. When it comes to my committees, I usually deal with Valencia and the department head who's going to be on the committee. I let me and the department head have a conversation about what we're going to discuss on the agenda. That gets sent to V. V checks with me. V makes the agenda and wants to know who I want at the meeting. And then that still is cross-communicated with the department chair of whatever committee or whatever department head we're having the meeting with. So it could be a negotiation or a conversation about it. I'm sure Jimmy is amenable to that.
I don't have any problems. I'm as flexible as can be. However, you know, we are, once the agenda get generated and it's published, like, those are the topics on the agenda. We have been reminded by the police department in the past that it's not on the agenda, we shouldn't be talking about it, you know? And that's kind of a back and forth thing that happened previous, you know, at least a couple of times that I can recall out the back. So I can understand that. We do try to stick with the agenda. And I'm not going to get floating around that you make a call and now all of a sudden agenda is whatever you say it is. That's never going to happen.
Yes, whatever the chair said.
Yes, sir.
We'll get with each committee. We'll find out if we have the opportunity to collaborate on the agenda prior to. And I think this has been a productive meeting, and people can be much more productive from the administrative side once we know and we have the latitude to really truly bring you the answers that you're looking for. Certainly timing when it comes to union contracts and negotiations might limit some of the conversations. I'm looking forward to our next scheduled meeting here on the 26th so that we can, you know, bring you a lot more data. We're 22 days into the new administration, and so that'll give us a lot more to be able to come back, and you all do not have to wait until that next meeting to bring things to my department heads and to my attention. If we can solve them well before these meetings, we're amenable to that, absolutely. And so I just thank you all for this meeting. I appreciate it.
Sure. Chief, I don't want you to think I'm at all being disrespectful for the way I talk. It's just how I talk. I get passionately amped up sometimes. No one ain't, trust me, you'll know if I'm getting to the point of disrespect, and I promise you I'll try never to get to that point. I ain't gonna turn into Kyle on you, because Kyle, I ain't gonna do that to you. So I just want to let you know.
Hey, I worked the South Side for years.
I just talk,
I get it.
you know, boldly at times. So don't take it as any form of disrespect.
And I will say this, I'm new. I'll make mistakes. I don't know what happened with previous. I'm in my office every day. Sometimes I'm here at 7, whatever. I gave you my phone number. It's on
The
we can
letter,
discuss it before it, what?
it's on the letter?
It's on the letter. We can discuss it before it even gets to this point.
I think that's sometimes, sorry, through the chair, I
Go
think
ahead.
that's with some of the frustration from earlier. when it's
Okay.
stuff on the agenda, we expect that you guys are coming prepared to discuss exactly what's on the agenda. So,
I just thought this was a meeting and if there was some stuff going on in your wards that wasn't getting addressed, I thought,
at
okay,
any committee meeting, when you come in, we're coming to
okay.
basically work. You know what I mean? We're coming to discuss the items at hand to get to, and at the end of the meeting, you're really supposed to leave with mandates from us to say, this is what we're looking for next.
And
So-
again, if we can solve the problems before the meeting, don't wait a week or two and let the problem escalate. And then we get here and it's, the police didn't do this, the police didn't do that, because maybe we didn't know, maybe I didn't know, let's try to squash it before it escalates.
Y'all have mandates from the committee that.
No, we're not gonna, Brian,
I know we've been here a while, through the chair, super brief. Just as someone who assists the chief day-to-day operations, the earlier we get these agendas, the better. I don't know logistically how it happens, but oftentimes we get them 1 hour or less. I can pull all this information, the earlier the better. We'd love to come be prepared. So if we could work together, just from someone from the logistical side that pulls all this for the boss.
I don't know how you guys are getting them 1 hour before, because they have to be public notice 24 hours before the meeting.
Maybe that's an us issue. But I'll check.
well, I can tell you that what he's saying is at least, and it's probably a little bit more than that, but it never happened no 1 hour. At least what I don't think it did.
And through the chair, that could be a us issue, getting them.
Even the media has to get this
Yeah.
24 hours before the meeting.
I'm gonna tell you for my committees, it ain't gonna be no weeks beforehand, I'm the last minute guy and I give you that. So, there's no battle there, it's just confession, but I'm in the guidelines, I'm hoping I am. I'm in the guidelines of the law that says it has to be public and given. And I know the clerk does a great job with that, even babysitting me, so it works. I want to bring this, obviously, this is back on, for,
And Brad,
okay, I'll get you, okay, Emma, go ahead.
Fine, go ahead.
No. What?
Okay. So,
It's just gonna be short.
Jimmy, you finish up, honey.
I'm
No,
not-
it's okay, go ahead.
I'm happy to do just that. I want to put the business back on, as it's titled, the community police and the staffing issues for my next meeting. If I can do that.
negotiations gonna be done by then?
Both subjects
Both
for
subjects.
February.
Yes,
Can I
go ahead.
make a suggestion of what I would like to see? I'm not the committee, so I can't really do it.
Just make your suggestions and
Well, you can still, Jimmy, you gotta ask Jimmy. What I would like to see is something that's set in stone, that says this is what our community police officers are gonna be doing during their time. They're gonna be doing community police work. I wanna see something, like some type of plan. We only got 4 or 5 that we share. And keep in mind, even though my community police officer was awesome, he still couldn't handle the entirety of the first ward by himself. I know it's 2 there now that don't know the first ward. But there's a lot to deal with. You know what I mean? These calls don't stop. They never stop.
What do you mean by they don't know the board?
The first ward,
I mean, what don't they know?
the people, the organizations, the community functions they have to go to, the regular events that happen, the regular complaints that happen, places they have to go to constantly check and make sure the last time they put a red tag on this.
Is
it's
that
still there.
information provided by you guys? I mean, do you
Community
provide
police
them a
work.
list of what you would like them to do, where they need to be?
Yeah, at the time, like when we get complaints, my community police officer hit me up the other day, I told her the biggest thing I'm dealing with right now is people saying streetlights are out, which ain't on us to fix. But that's
so
what
how
people,
innocent.
that's what people expect us to do. So sometimes we gotta get it done.
exactly what you're asking to be.
I'm asking for a some type of written playbook that says the community police officer during their community police time are gonna be out and about, in between them taking care of quality of life issues, meeting the public, letting people knocking on doors saying, hey, here's my card. You know what I mean? Because if you're not doing nothing.
A work plan, you want
Right.
the,
I don't want them sitting in the car. I want them policing the community as community police officers.
okay, let me get him. And
Kind of piggybacking off Julius, I need a understanding of what we are expecting our community officers to do. Are they strictly quality of life officers? I need to know that, handling only quality of life issues, or are they going to be doing other security details, other police officer duties? Or that, so we need to have a conversation probably with Patton. If we can invite him.
Well, that's Patton's boss.
If you need, because I understand you're new, and understanding there's 20 different ones. I need to have a better understanding so I can explain to my residents, you know, what their job actually is at this point. Because he couldn't handle majority, obviously, and you can see that that's verified through the tickets that are written, quality of life tickets, you know. What is their job specifically?
So do you want Johnny Patton at the next meeting? Cause he
If
can,
we could, because since he is the supervisor of the community police officers, Jimmy, if you would. That way we get an understanding.
we will request them. It's up to you when the time comes, who you want to come here. We can't mandate someone to show up. So, I'll make a note that we will. I don't know if I could.
You can.
Mhm.
Do we mandate them to show up?
No, we are legislative, they're administrative. That's Chief's call on whether or not she wants her employee at this meeting.
Fritz, can you give us another answer on that, same way?
Through the chair, you're getting the same answer from me as your clerk gave you.
Thank you, Fritz. Here's the thing, though. What they're asking makes pretty good sense that we can follow a script because we're gonna have every ward is gonna have their own community police. That's what we received. Now, I understand, Mayor, you wasn't around when that happened, but that was argued, that was discussed. We got tricked, we got fooled, and I understand you got bigger pictures, but this is important and there's options. What I would like to do is give a list of suggestions, you know, if we could, you know, as to what the community police does in the form, police-wise in other cities, you know, what they be doing. And if that be okay, the next meeting, I have a list of those. But that's just conversation.
Through the chair.
Sir.
Will that be emailed since you don't use email?
You're gonna lose at the end, man. I'm just telling you, you know? No, this guy over here, Jonathan, you're gonna have to make him talk a few times at these places, you know?
I'm
You're
just
gonna have to
taking it
put- I'm
through
just
the
saying.
chair. I'm just taking it all in, just
Nah,
listening.
nah.
They're gonna mandate you the
Mental
next
note.
meeting.
He gives me a shot, I'm gonna give you one. Yes, sir.
The chair, we're gonna work it out. I think that, you know, Chief Cole saying that, hey, I'm in my office allows accessibility to her. I think we've got a beginning of understanding committee meetings and how you all individually want to be addressed and arrive at agendas. I think that we share in the desire to see our community police know and understand. I will say, in addition to some of the challenges, that there are other cities that we are looking at that are trying to solve these omnibusman problems that council members are having. Not only council members, but department heads and administrative folks. And so if we can work together to solve those things and educate the community, then we can all get on to the visions that we have for not only our wards, but our community. Because many of the things that we're talking about, See-Click Fixed exists for those types of things, and bringing real accountability to those tools, bringing real education and community. But there's got to be trust. And I think that begins here. You've got to trust that See-Click Fixed doesn't just get clicked through and told us that the tires got picked up and they didn't. I'm working already to bring oversight and accountability to those things that'll help, all of us get on to the projects that we have in our community. Councilman Hughes, you talked about the wonderful thing that happens at McGuffey Mall site. That's the vision for your ward and for our community. But if you're being bogged down by traffic lights, we've got traffic light studies, we've got the community partners that are supposed to be addressing those things well before we've got to call 911 and exhaust these other services. So it's a recipe cocktail of efforts that we're trying to put together here. I certainly understand how this shift in community policing has impacted you all. And so again, I think that we've laid a foundation for not only how these meetings will go, but how communication can go. I committed to Councilman Oliver the same thing. We spoke quite some time last night. You don't have to make an appointment to see the mayor. Many of you have my personal cell phone numbers. You can text, you can call. We're not trying to put up any sorts of walls where they don't need to happen. I won't trample over union negotiation moments. Certainly I know well enough, and I think we all know well enough to not do that. But other than that, some of these things are just our beginning. And if we stay together, and our coming together might be a little rocky, but our staying together, I don't think we'll have a problem doing that.
I appreciate that, Mayor, and I look forward to it. It's a whole lot, but the quality of life issues is very important.
Absolutely.
And sometimes these meet and greets, that's their number one complaint, where they at. They don't see it. We got no means of direct contact. The see it, click it, fix it was also, to me, I try to get that rolled in with my community police, that they do. My senior says, forget the computers, forget this. They don't want to hear this about, they don't hear nothing to be about it, even the cell phones.
Mm-hmm.
I go around with them and I click to see and fix it into the system because I want their names on it. I want them they want to report it. So I do it for them. I started trying to do a program with the community police through Sergeant Patton to have the meet and greets, regular meet and greets, go around and get their complaints and have the community police put it in the system for them and have that being, because they'll give you the feedback is resolved and they can show them in the picture or they can have it printed out that this was done, and it'll bang it out to a whole bunch of other people's that these problems is going on. There's so much benefit to that. But for a lot of seniors, and I think I'm the king of seniors as well as projects, when you're talking about what side of town. But
You're pretty old.
I got a lot of housing and get that. So at the end of the day, there's a lot of things that we can do, but the double dipping with the community police is going to be an obstacle. It's going to continue to be on. The shortening of the community police is going to be a concern. It's always going to be a concern. We need to get around that. And I think that's what we need to be also thinking about when we leave this. Go ahead.
Through the chair, this is just a question. So is the national, because I hear you saying, you're searching like council people, is the national trend getting away from community police and more towards these tactical plainclothes people? Or I'm just wondering if you guys know.
I don't.
All through the country, Atlanta and other cities and even Detroit, where they got community groups that are also involved in policing their own neighborhoods. Neighborhood assistants, I think they were calling them. And these guys, I think if you can Google it on whatever those Google channels, they show one example or another where non-police civilians are reducing the crime and they're turning neighborhoods around. Nowhere is they saying that we get, other than the feds and National Guard type stuff, but no one's doing that other stuff back and forth. And if you look at any of the websites that channel the community police, you'll see the head administration bragging about how the community police and how they answer to the citizens. And back, I think Erie has a good example, and other communities does that. If you just Google police departments and community police around here, either the chief executive or somebody close to them is bragging about what their community police do, how they answer to the people, and how that goes on. And all these other things with the neighborhood assistant, the big cities that had all kinds of crime that have been reduced, they using citizens' activities, involvement groups to help reduce that. Conflict with the neighborhood, foreigners that's running the stores, then they're adjudicating these problems with them. You gotta have better food, you gotta have cleaner places. You can't just treat us like anything. That's what you see on the internet. Go ahead, Julius, and make this quick because I'm well over my time.
Don't tell me that.
Listen,
I'm sorry, Chair, I got it. So in Watts, their community police worked in the projects and worked with the Economic Development Department and totally transitioned the whole community away from the projects into their own brick and mortar houses and got retail to come and set up around it. Those people actually did the construction jobs that lived in the projects. They also got training to train them not to be project housing mindset, right? They took them out of that. They trained them to be construction workers. They built the condos that they live in. Then they got the jobs for the retail around their community. All started from their community police unit and their sports programs for the youth inside the projects. That's just to add to what Jimmy was saying. There's plenty of models across the country. Everybody solved every problem we have. We just got to get to it. Some cities are mimicking us for the things we've solved. I was going to say, according to, if you guys are going to do this thing where you go around to our block watches and explain what's going on with community police, which I request, I recommend that. You have to understand also that our block watches represent a very small part of our ward. Everybody's not there. So they're only going to get so much information, which is why I'm trying to say have the community police go door to door to get to know, because you only get 12 to maybe 50 people at a block watch organization, but you got almost 10,000 in a room. So it's not a big number. So we got to get the word out there somehow. And I think you're going to find, Mayor, Chief, that you could never communicate enough. You know, some people are going to miss it somehow. You could do the news, the newspaper, radio, be at somebody's front door with the information they need, and they still going to say they didn't know or they missed it somehow. So a way to better communicate with people is going to go a long way.
If I can ask, is there a problem with the community police attending the block watch meetings?
No, it's great for them to attend, but
No, I just wanted to make
what
sure.
I'm saying is it's not. There's only so many people there that's going to be able to get this information. And when you get a call from Mr. Jones down the street, he has no idea there's a community police officer. Even though we've had him in place for I don't know how many years, we're giving out cards, he still has no idea that this person exists to be able to help him. You know, so it's just if a community police knocked on his door, left a card in his mailbox, or I mean not in his mailbox, that's illegal or whatever, but on his doorstep or whatever, it goes a long way because then I got my own police officer. I had no idea, you know. Just
there's a lot of programs with the meet and greet and giving out your card and introducing them. We've used that in Youngstown back in the day, but other cities have used it as well. But what we have is something as well. We can do this periodically, and we can do this with see it, fix it, click it, whatever that means, however you put that. That program there, you know, it's a great program, and we should embrace it even more so than we have. But in what I tried to bring up earlier was the seniors and other groups in the neighborhood, they don't do the electronics, they don't do the computers, and they make known of that. I'm just trying to tell them, send me a text, take a picture and send it to me. That don't work. So I got to go out there, and I started doing it myself, enter it for them and to see it, click, and then take a picture or I'll print it out. I'll give them this stuff. But as a group, as a mass, as a scheduled event, the community police, to me, they don't do scheduled events. They don't do enough scheduled events. We talking about just flashlights, stopping cars, running, doing California stops at a stop sign or running red lights. A lot of older people sit out there on the porch and they look at this all day. They see this and no one cares, you know, and it just goes peace of mind if everything else. Now I understand it's going to take it takes time, but we're not trying to give a whole bunch of tickets. We're just trying to slow them down, and they will, but that's what they're asking to do, and they constantly ask them to do that. Now, we have the chronics. We have the ones that's gonna beat you to death, and you're never gonna satisfy them. Now, I understand that. I don't get on board with, I don't get away from them, but I don't necessarily say that they don't have a valid point. But I'm telling you right off the bat, they say the same thing for the last 20 years, and no matter what you do, it still exists. Pat? Amber?
Sir.
Julius? Anyone? We're gonna put the item number 2 back on the agenda for the next meeting. So, and if the administration has something that they think they want to discuss with us about something to the safety, and they can do it publicly. And I'll say this, I'm game for anyone. Mayor, you can get me like you got Julius yesterday. I'm a little jealous, but really, you thought
I
that was.
didn't like it at the beginning of the meeting. I tapped him on the shoulder and you.
Yeah, I know.
Like it. Now you like it.
You had a hookup. He had a.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, I see that now. But as it goes, it's a run on if you say anything else, and we're gonna put this on the agenda, and I'm always welcome to anything that you think that you have a concern with the safety committee or council in general. You can bring it to my committee, it's just let Mrs. Morrow know. That being said, there's no unfinished business, which you say don't apply. Next scheduled meeting is Thursday, February 26, 2026. Appropriate for a motion.
Adjourn.
Second. Eden?